Excellent. Cool. Well, here we go. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this lovely afternoon, or GM, as we like to say. Nice to have you both actually here, Jonathan and Edward. The surprise other guest, the co-founder of Meteor Wallet and Near Tinker Union. How are you guys?
Thanks, Mark. Thanks for having us. And it's been great. So I actually just got to know about VX Labs quite lately. So I can't wait to speak more about it and understand more about it.
Well, if I know anything about you, it's because you've had your head deep in some code. You probably don't even know what day it is or
Yeah,
what
yeah.
time it is.
Oh yeah,
Let me tell you,
it has been like a
it's
crazy one.
2023 now. Okay, it's 2023 now. Okay, and it's what is it? Is it a Thursday today? I don't even know, so I can't even criticize. But it's good to have you. It's good to have you. So, as most of you know, I'll be your host today. I'm Naka Miado, or Naka, or Mark, whatever you want to call me. And today I'm lucky to have Web3 Hedge, or Jonathan, who is one of the co-founders of Meteor Wallet, as well as Rex Degen, or Edward, who is the other co-founder of Meteor Wallet. But just before we kick off, we'll have a quick disclaimer. The views discussed in this show is entirely that of the participants and does not constitute financial advice. As I said last week, don't listen to me. I don't know why I listen to me. Nothing I say is smart or important or anything like that. This is pure entertainment. Is it that? I don't know. But it doesn't reflect the views of Veax Labs. So, not financial advice. Do your own research, etc., etc. So, thanks for coming. Edward, Jonathan, why don't you guys, we'll start off. I did the same thing with K Dot last week, just quickly. Why don't you tell me what you guys are grateful for today?
Hey Mark, great to be here and thanks for hosting this space. Um, what am I grateful for today? Cheap is I would say I'm grateful to be able to be in the space, be able to it's every day that I wake up and I'm able to actually spend more and more of my time in Web3. It's just that's what I'm grateful for, to be honest.
Living the dream, Jonathan, living the dream. What about you, Edward?
Well, that's really interesting. I think it's almost same to Jordan, except that I believe like what we're working on right now is actually gonna have real impact soon to the world, and I think that's really what motivates me.
Yeah, I mean, good answers. I think it's inspiring to people out there listening to work. You could have said anything, right? When I ask what people are grateful for, it's like, yeah, I've got 10 fingers, 10 toes, two hands, two arms, two legs, lovely dog, family, whatever. But you guys, you're talking about working and doing something you're passionate about, which is really inspiring and why a lot of people listen here today. So thanks for that answer. So look, a lot of people may not yet have heard of Meteor Wallet, what it is, or anything like that. So, why don't you guys give us an overview? Well, like, why don't we go back? You know, I remember the very first conversation that we had. I couldn't tell you the date. It was probably a little over a year ago, I guess, and it was surrounding the Tinker Union. So, why don't we talk about what the Tinker Union was and how that genesis came into Meteor Wallet? So, yeah, Edward or Jonathan, I'm not sure who wants to speak, but why don't we start from the beginning?
Yeah, I think Edward should take this one. He was the original founder of the Near Tinker Union that started the project. So I think he would be a great person to lead us off on that.
Right. So I remember it was like during early 2022 that I started just know about Neo Protocol. I remember back then I was on Solana, so that was during the NFT hype. We've been cravings for NFT. Then I just randomly got chill about Neo Protocol. That's the first time I got to know Neo Protocol. So as you mentioned, like I'm a tech person. After looking into the technical implementation of Neo Protocol, I immediately found it really, really interesting and promising. And yeah, that was the time I decided that, hey, I need to do something on this blockchain, and perhaps from there I could start, creating some impact and then bring in more momentum and whatsoever. So we started as NFT collections, and then the first thing we created was the NFT launchpad, and that's how we met each other. I
Yeah.
forever appreciate all of the support that we got from you, Mark. And yeah, so, fast forward a few months, NFT doesn't turn out quite well. Things start to cool down, but still, it's quite important for us as a community to find something that we can contribute to and then try to make it work. So I've been talking to people on the ecosystem, and then one thing that they've been mentioning about, we asked them about what are some of the challenges to try onboard people onto Near, and then apparently they say it's a wallet experience, because as compared to all the other blockchains like Solana, like Ethereum, or even like, I don't know if you guys know the internet computer thing. So
Yeah.
even if compared to them, they all have better wallet experience. At least the extension works quite well. When it comes to mobile app, they have the mobile app and like Celo. So on Near Protocol, it appears that we have a lot to offer, but from users' perspective, it's hard for them to really feel that. So that's where it all started. And then like I
So
feel quite lucky to actually met Jonathan through community, and then we got along really, really well. He's a very ambitious and thoughtful guy. After a few conversations, I feel like, yo, I really need to have this guy in the team. So that's where the team formed.
yeah, well, look, I remember meeting Jonathan for the first time as well, and I remarked on Jonathan's South African heritage, and every single South African that I know in the space is a straight up hustler, like working hard all the time, several hours all the time. And we had a good, Jonathan will speak for himself, I'm sure, but we're both kind of commercial business development people, and I think we appreciated that in each other. And you two make a fantastic team, I think.
Yeah, no, thanks very much for that. I mean, I thought it was great meeting you in the beginning, and you had really helped us navigate. You had really helped us navigate the space in the beginning. And as Edward mentioned, I think one of the most special things for me coming into Web3 was and kind of the NFT community was, essentially the Near Tinker Union NFT sort of the ethos of it was essentially it was just a community of people that agreed that the blockchain is going to bring more freedom essentially to the world, and wanted to just build products that benefited holders, and specifically felt that Near was that chain. I immediately gravitated towards Edward and the team just from what they were doing, and then from there just things got started. And I just think there's not that many places where people can come together very organically, and start companies and build products together. And I think it was a very special beginning to what has developed today, which is now Meteor Wallet.
Yeah, cool. And I guess I want to take it back a couple of steps. Like we all are familiar with the Near community and the organic genesis of it all, people meeting other people who are like-minded and stuff. But you mentioned something a little bit earlier, Edward, on you liked the tech of the chain, and I'd like to dig a little bit deeper of that. Like, what was it specifically that brought you to Near initially, with the sort of NFT part and that kind of platform? And then, like you said, importantly, how can you give back to this community? What does this community need, or what does this platform need that you can help contribute to? What was it that really excited you about the chain?
Oh, there's so much. So first, I really want to share about like what interests me so much about this blockchain. So first is, technically there's so many innovative that Near has implemented. But all of the other blockchains like Ethereum, Solana, they've been trying to do the same thing as well. Like if you look at the recent account abstraction that Ethereum is trying to achieve, Near already has that implemented. So the fact is, any blockchain can do all those things. But if you're like a working blockchain right now that you're already launching on the mainnet, it will be so hard for you to actually implement something new, because you need to make sure it's compatible to all of the state, everything that happened before this new change. So on Near, we have like the key management, the account stuff, like on all the other blockchain, your private key derive, I mean, you have private and public key, and that derive into your account address. So basically, your account address is, just a random bunch of string. But on Near, you have name wallet, and that's on protocol level. And then the second thing is, the sharding. That's quite important. It basically gives us the unlimited potential in the future when mass adoption really happened. So if mass adoption really happened right now, I think Near is potentially one of the very few blockchains that can handle the traffic. None of the other blockchain that you know today, like Polygon, Ethereum, layer one, layer two, or like Solana, can actually handle more than like
Yeah,
10,000 transactions.
this is the thing.
a day.
It feels like there's this huge secret that we know, but no one else does, because Nia has this kind of built into this protocol level, right? That sharding and that ability to
Yes.
take all those transactions. It's just a case of, okay, who is going to be that killer app? What DApp is going to come here and bring all those users and test that platform out? That's, I think, what we're all kind of waiting to see. And, to your point before with the account abstraction, and you see things on Twitter, and there's a new chain called Canto or something like that, and they're talking about how developers get 30% of the gas fees. This is innovative. Yes. It's so new. It's amazing. Well, Near's been doing that since day one. So
exactly,
it's beyond belief. But I guess it's just up to us, right, as supporters of the blockchain and the community, to make sure that message is gets out there and is learnt by the masses.
Yeah,
yes,
up to us.
exactly.
And then also, when other blockchains eventually start to fail, you'll start to see people looking elsewhere. Might take some time, but
well, yeah. I think your crypto winter, right? It's just people who are interested in the tech that are here and using the apps, and it doesn't sustain the kind of traffic where you're going to have issues. But we're hoping that acceleration event comes when people start looking back in this direction, and fingers crossed, Near stands up to the pressure.
Yeah, and I really like to share one quote that I saw lately, which I think is really, really inspiring. It says, Web3, blockchain, crypto, AR, VR, all this is going to be real and it's going to be impactful. And all they need is a killer app like ChatGPT for AI. So ChatGPT is basically like the killer app for AI. And it's exactly until ChatGPT is released that all of us, like most of us, really start to get, really using AI in our daily life. And I think, like you mentioned, Mark, I think we need killer app. And so what's good about Near is it opens up more possibilities as compared to other blockchains as a ground for this dApp to grow and really happen. So it has it has these features that other blockchains cannot offer, that can eventually help us to make next, killer app come true.
Yeah, 100%. And I guess that's a good segue into what you guys are building, right? Because when it comes to onboarding people onto the blockchain, that wallet is one of the first experiences that anyone has in interacting with the blockchain and dApps and all those kind of things. So why don't you talk us through your vision for Meteor Wallet, what it is you can do, what it is you want to do, and the kind of design principles that you guys think are really important to follow through with?
I'll go for this. I think this is a really good question. So I think none of us can really define how a wallet should work today, how a non-custodial, how exactly a non-custodial wallet should work today. Because I think at the end of the day, the final state of how a non-custodial wallet looks like is going to be very different from what we're seeing today. And for today, as of today, our mission is to make sure that on Near protocol, we have something that doesn't lag behind as compared to other blockchain, and to make sure we at least provide something that's on the same level when it comes to wallet experience.
Table stakes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And on top of that, we also, that's why we're focused so natively on Near. We want to provide those features that aren't available on other network. Like, for example, you can change your private key on Near, and that's, Meteor Wallet is literally the only wallet that offer you this feature right now. So for example, if you have you had a wallet for months or even years, and then suddenly you feel like I might have exposed to certain risks and I want to change my private key, I think Meteor Wallet is right now the only wallet that allows you to do that from and with a very simple user interface. And then we have the DEX aggregator. We have all these challenges that help you to explore different dApps on Near. So I think for now, we want to make sure we have the same level of wallet experience. In the future, we'll see like what else we can provide to the community or what else we can contribute to this ecosystem.
And of course, Near is a proof of stake blockchain, right? So that means staking your help contributing to the security of the network. So do you have those features within the wallet? What does that look like?
Oh, yes. I'm proud to say that I think we offer the best user experience when it comes to staking, be it liquid staking or like just normal staking. So if you go to Meteor Wallet right now, you can click on staking, and then you see two options. One is liquid staking, where we work closely with Metapool to provide native user experience staking within wallet itself. You don't have to go to another website. Or if you prefer the normal staking, then there's also an option of normal staking. What's better is you can see exactly what's the APY after deducting the fee, and then you see an estimated return based on the amount you put in and then the date you want to stake. So I think we really want to make it simple. And yeah, so if you haven't tried out, feel free to try it out.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on that, as what Edward was saying. I mean, you mentioned previously that we've got sort of a DEX or a swap aggregator. We've got staking that is essentially simplified, whether you're doing normal staking or you're doing liquid staking. You mentioned briefly about this explore section, which is essentially just like a dApp directory with challenges, which are essentially, sort of a learn and earn mechanism for people to take action and potentially get some sort of incentive. But just coming back to one thing I wanted to hit home on in terms of the vision of what we're trying to do, the blockchain, as a wallet, you're the first touch point for users. And where we think we can provide a lot of value is essentially just aggregating what is possible and simplifying that for the user, and essentially just providing the user with convenience or helping them to maximize their capital in an easier way. And I think when it's not like some grand vision, but it's basically we just need to do that consistently as the space evolves. We can do that. Really happy.
Yeah, look, I couldn't agree more. And I think, like I touched on before, the wallet is the first touch point for a lot of people when it comes into these ecosystems. So you have big brands like Revolut, who are a neobank, as it were, over here in Europe, and they're trying to create these super apps where you have an access to a whole bunch of different applications or financial applications within one space. And I guess Salesforce are also the same. They're trying to create an ecosystem of CRM tools, sales tools, and stuff for businesses. It's all about creating one place where you can go and have these kind of experiences. And I guess letting the user decide what's best for them. So I guess we look forward to being part of that aggregator service with Veax, with the sort of AMM model, and showing that what we're building over here will create really good options and the best models for users to get the most tokens for the cheapest prices, right? So yeah, we're really excited about what you guys are doing, and hopefully we can have some kind of good partnership with you guys going forward as well.
Yeah, that's great. And I mean, we also wanted to, maybe you could share a little bit more about your guys' approach, and I know that you guys have we've seen some quite a bit of activity on the testnet as you guys have launched, which looks pretty interesting, and keen to hear what your sort of vision is and rollout strategy on here.
Yeah, look, so we're really, really proud of the results that we've had so far on the testnet. I think we've had just shy of about 8,000 unique accounts play around with the testnet. And as you guys know, being tech guys, it's all about A/B testing, seeing what works, what doesn't work, getting bugs to make sure that you're in a good position for mainnet launch. So of those just shy of 8,000 unique accounts, there's been about $250,000 or just under 300,000 native near transactions on the testnet. So if we can kind of replicate those numbers when we go to mainnet, we will be very happy campers, and I expect the chain will be happy as well, because an L1 lives or dies by transactions on the chain, right? And if you can create a platform or an environment where you're getting a whole bunch of transactions because people are using the service, then that means you're being successful, right? We're growing about 10% in transactions per day, which is nice. So just to give you guys an overview, or any other people, is Veax is creating an AMM, concentrated liquidity model. So we see a lot of talk on socials about how Near has a lot of limit order book protocols with Tonic, Spin, and Orderly, and there's a lot of news about those guys at the moment, and they certainly serve a purpose. But I guess we've kind of come together and think that the concentrated liquidity model, a la Uniswap version 3, is probably the more scalable model over the long term. Okay, look, we're all just here working out this new technology, so that remains to be seen. But we've got some pretty clever people that have put some good academic papers, which will be released around the time of mainnet, to demonstrate why concentrated liquidity should be able to create a better option trading for perps and derivatives and options going forward, building much more superior leverage models where you can take leverage positions without being 100% collateralized. So a very sophisticated trading engine, which, look, you have to read the academic paper. We've got some documentation, which you can go through our socials to look at why we think that, and the academic paper will come out soon. But we're very confident that that model will go forward. So we're starting off with the AMM, simple AMM model to go forward. It's very similar to Uniswap v3, except the enhancement is that you can have different fees for different pools, whereas it's not quite that sophisticated on Uniswap v3. So we will launch with those features, pretty simple features, with a few of the partners we speak to. You mentioned you guys are working with Metapool and Stake Near. We will certainly be working with them as well as the other derivatives, certainly Stader, and hopefully Linear as well as the Near token and stable coins like that to start off with. And then we have a pretty good roadmap over the next 2 quarters to build out the derivatives features of the exchange. So really excited about providing a lot more sophisticated options for trading for both retail users and hopefully institutional users, who will be able to have a lot more capital efficiency with the way that Veax is structured. So it's like an 83% fee model, where 83% of the fees go to the LPs, because a DEX lives or dies by the liquidity on the exchange. So you need to make sure those incentive mechanisms are there for people to provide otherwise passive liquidity to the exchange. And I think that's probably somewhere we can collaborate with you guys as well, making sure it's very easy for users to provide liquidity on the exchange right from the wallet platform, and rather than sort of having to navigate through a few sites. So yeah, really excited.
Oh, yeah, that's super exciting. Actually, like, I haven't really seen this concentrated. I mean, sorry, I just want to talk a bit about the concentrated liquidity you mentioned just now.
Please.
I remember saw that once that Rev Finance has it implemented recently. I'm not sure like whether or not that's already in place, but I've always wanted to see this on Near. Like, people prefer to earn that passive income, sort of like, generate yield or like farm the yield with, providing liquidity, do the yield farming and stuff. But also during the same time, it's very hard to avoid or prevent the impermanent loss. So for me, like, concentrated liquidity sort of provide me the option that I can adjust the risk that I want to take, and also, control the sort of like the rewards that I get. And another thing that really makes me interested in is the single site liquidity. I'm not sure how that works, but I mean, that's gonna be very useful for a lot of users. Like, often, for example, when there's like near versus USDT pool, you probably want to hold USDT more because you don't want to experience the fluctuation of the price. Then, but still you want the yield. So single site liquidity is probably gonna work for you. But I'm still not sure how that works. I wonder if you can like share with
Yeah,
us
look,
a little bit on that one.
I could tell you it's going to be there. I can't tell you exactly how it works. I'm afraid. I'm just the good-looking guy, Edward. Like,
Oh.
yeah, I'm just the beauty. Everyone else is the brains. We've got some good documentation. It will certainly be out there. But you mentioned refs have talked about it. I know it's on their roadmap, and I know the likes of
Okay.
Orderly will have a community pool. But let me tell you, the way that we've structured at Veax. So we have been fortunate to have some very influential people from TradFi behind the team at Veax. So one of whom is a man called Lars Sier Christensen, who was the founder and CEO of one of the biggest FX banks in Denmark called Saxo Bank. And he's, quite an experienced and wealthy individual. He's got his own bank, for goodness sake. So we've actually bootstrapped a team, and we've got up to 40 people working on this DEX on the technical side alone. So that's ranging from blockchain developers to DevOps engineers to product people. So I don't think there's any other team within the Near ecosystem that is as well resourced as the VX team when it comes to actual having the skill set to implement and iterate along, what is on the roadmap. So look, we're very confident that we'll be able to put something out in good time from a feature iteration point of view. So yeah, look, I can't wait to see how that goes. But I've been experienced in the Near ecosystem for a long time, and I've had the benefit of, working with a couple of engineers or developers who have a cool idea. It's just a team of one or a team of two, or there's been kind of Fortune 500 companies that I've spoken to that have a small division that are looking how to use blockchain technology to augment an existing product offering. But I've never come across such a well-resourced and experienced team when it comes to blockchain experience. I mean, these guys, our CTO is an absolute beast, and the experience that him and his team have in Rust specifically, time to market is everything in these environments. So yeah, really, really excited about what they'll be able to put out and introduce to the ecosystem.
I was going to ask, when are you guys planning to go mainnet?
So we launched testnet at the end of last month. It was the last day of last month. So yeah, we've got 16 days or something like that. We've been going with almost 300,000 transactions on the testnet. So like any good testnet, you want to do a lot of testing. The clue's in the name, funnily enough. But I think the plan at the moment is to launch mainnet hopefully by the end of March, which will be really cool. And then TGE will be shortly after that. So it will be very, 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 very cool to see how that happens. And I guess see what bugs the community can find before launch. But yeah, it's really exciting. If I recommend you definitely try the testnet out. We've got a pretty cool incentive campaign at the moment where you sort of go through a series of tasks and all those kind of things. So yeah, I definitely recommend you check it out if you haven't yet.
Oh yeah, I was exactly about to ask about the incentive program to start using that on the testnet. I'm looking at it right now on my laptop. The UI looks super sick.
Yeah, I think I make this joke with a few people. Based on the UI and the deck alone, if we were in a bull market, we would have been able to raise 100 million. It says words leverage and perps and derivatives in there. I think if we slot AI there and metaverse in there, we would have been cool. But from a branding and design concept, yeah, huge fan.
I wanted to get your insight, Mark, on Near at the moment and almost like the state of DeFi. So as you mentioned, there are a couple of other players, and obviously Near, is still pretty much in its infancy in terms of user base. What do you think is going to be that sort of inflection point that's going to bring essentially attract users for something that's unique from a DeFi standpoint? So how do you see that? Yeah.
I mean, oh, should I leave the gloves on or the gloves off? What do you want? I think the problem so far is it's taken longer than anyone would have liked for stablecoins to be natively available on other exchanges, right? So at the moment, you can get native USDT on one or two exchanges, I think, and that's how most people trade when it comes to DeFi. So I think, once native Near USDT, or when it finally becomes available, USDC becomes available, and bridge off the exchange like Binance or KuCoin or, all those kind of exchanges, it kind of opens up a lot more opportunity because people just don't want to bridge. People are afraid of using bridges. So I think that's probably one of the biggest things holding the ecosystem back. And I think there's probably a lot of bias towards existing platforms, if I'm completely honest, with what we can do and what investors within the ecosystem can support, because obviously they've supported the platforms that are in the ecosystem right now, and there's probably a little bit of worry around volume and competition and other DeFi applications taking a slice of that pie. But I think that will change. I know that Orderly are launching perp soon, so that should be pretty exciting. Tonic's got some very cool things going on. Spin's got some very cool things going on. So once it becomes easier to get those stable assets from those exchanges rather than just Near, I think that changes the ball game a little bit. Do you have any points you'd like to add or talk about?
No, I actually, yeah, that's a very interesting point, and I think I agree with you. I was wondering, I mean, do you know when that might happen?
Well, look, yeah, I think you'd probably have to ask the folks at the foundation for a little bit more detail if they're able to give it. I do know that Circle actually led the pre-seed round for Veax exchange. So when native USDC does become a thing, we certainly want to become a conduit for native USDC on the exchange and build up liquidity there. So we'll certainly be leveraging those relationships to do so. But I think, it's USDT, you can already do it on Bitfinex. Hopefully the other exchanges follow suit relatively soon. Native USDC, I think, hopefully should be happening by Q3, hopefully.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think that's exciting. I think it's going to be very interesting to watch, to see the impact it has on the ecosystem.
Now, I remember when we first spoke, or, a couple of times, the whole sort of thesis or objective behind it was getting people from Solana ecosystem into Near ecosystem and building a mechanism for swapping Solana to Near and all that kind of stuff. Is that still on your roadmap? What is that looking like for you?
Yeah, we built, Edward can touch on it, but at the hackathon at NearCon, we actually built a bit of a separate app. I'm trying to think, Edward, what was it called? It was I think it was called
Portals. Yeah, we
Portals.
named it Portals.
Portals, yeah. Right.
Just maybe we can speak to it. It's still something we want to add on the wallet. So just like a very easy way for essentially users to bridge an asset from another blockchain. Look, we were still using it. We were still using exchanges, so it was still centralized in a way. But the priority for us was to just improve the convenience. It wasn't. We do believe that as the blockchain still matures, there's kind of these like multi-purpose solutions that might need to happen to help just improve the convenience of that. But Edward can speak to you a little bit more about the specifics of it.
Yeah. So it was just a very simple implementation where we, those centralized exchange provide API to do exchange if you own the account. and then we just receive certain funds like Solana from users, and then we just execute a transaction with our own funds within CX, and then we get the amount of near from that, that transaction, and then we just pay user that amount of near. So that's as simple as that. We don't do something that's crazy or whatsoever. But the concerns behind that is whether or not we're gonna bear any sort of like legal responsibility, and whether or not if the transaction activity is kind of like abnormal, our funds will get frozen by centralized exchange. So all those appear to be unknown to us, and then we didn't really carry forward with the idea. But we believe, if the decentralized, like the cross-chain swap, still not making any progress in the future, maybe I think that idea is going to be implemented by us or somebody else, because it's just so user-friendly. Like we literally did that and made a demo that the entire swap can happen within 10 seconds. So from 10 seconds, you pay Solana with your Phantom wallet, and then you receive Near in your Near wallet. So that's just so convenient. I mean, like you mentioned just now, it's so hard for users to get on board if there's no native stable coins, I mean, on Near or whatsoever. So the thing is, if that isn't an option for users to get on board, what are the options for existing crypto users to get on board easily? So the answer for us is just the cross-chain swap thing. And using CX appears to be one of the most efficient way to do that.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I personally, I don't touch sexes anymore, like for obvious reasons. I just have a zero trust in any of them. I mean, I'm lucky I've been in this game for quite a while, and I've got sort of funds sloshing around in different wallets on different chains and all that kind of stuff. I don't need to use a centralized exchange, but I think, with that in mind, do you think that there is a long-term thesis for continued people trusting centralized exchanges, or do you think it will push more users to DeFi and decentralized exchanges? Well, what are your thoughts there?
So I think the previous crisis definitely pushed more users towards DeFi, but I think we really need to resolve the user experience issue right now that we're seeing on DeFi. And until we really solve that, I think many users still gonna stick with DeFi. And one of the major challenge that I see is most of the DeFi right now is still on browser, on desktop browser to be exact. Some of them are already compatible with wallet browser, but no mobile apps. And I know that's not something that we can handle because, Apple and Google, they all want a piece from the pie. But I think that's the reality. If we didn't manage to really make Web3 or decentralized service mobile friendly and user friendly, I think CX is gonna continue to play the dominant role.
Yeah, you're right, because if you look at the journey right now, if you have a wallet and you integrate with someone like MoonPay, for example, just plenty of other wallet or fiat on and off ramps available. You want to play around with crypto, you want $100 worth or $500 worth. Straight away, the very first transaction, they're taking 4%. I mean, that's just too much. People aren't interested in giving away 4% if they just want to put on a few bucks to buy an NFT or, do a little bit of trading and stuff. I think as those experiences become a lot more, I guess, cheaper and more available, and that might have something to do with regulation as well. And then once you have more accessible rails, because, for example, right now, if I want to go from a centralized exchange to decentralized experience, have to buy Near on a centralized exchange, take that Near off, put that into my wallet as Near, and then, do the trade from Near into some kind of stable coin or whatever that is. And depending on how quickly you can get that done, there could be a lot of price fluctuations in that point, small variations of those kind of things. But to my mind, even if I'm a new user, like I don't want to buy something for $2.30, and then by the time I get it and to a decentralized exchange and swap it for a stable coin, like I'm going to feel really pissed off if it's $2.26 by that time. It's just a small, even if it's $2.29, like it just feels like you're being robbed straight away.
Ripped off, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, once that experience becomes a lot more simpler, I think it becomes a much better user experience, right? And people will be more interested in trying out.
I absolutely agree with you. Like, I think, like you mentioned, if you're like a first time user, and I think it depends on which country you reside in. Like the first time you do crypto on RAM, you're gonna pay around 3 to 5% fee, and that's just ridiculous. It basically makes on ramping become, sorry to say that, but basically a joke that users not gonna do anything serious with their fiat if they have to convert their fiat into crypto and pay that 3 to 5%. They're not gonna consider crypto as, you know, an investment tool. They're not gonna consider crypto as a daily usage stuff because no one on their right mind would pay that 3 to 5% every day. So at the end of the day, they're only going to use crypto as something that's more towards entertainment, maybe social, maybe NFT in smaller amount, not as investment, definitely something more towards entertainment. And what's more interesting is we mentioned about the killer app just now. If we want crypto to succeed, we need the super app. And in fact, we already have the super app, which is the stable coin. And if you look at the numbers, I think during last year itself, 2022, USDT has settled more amounts in USD than Visa and Master combined. So I think that's just crazy number. That's really crazy if you think about it. And if regulations really just approve these things, we are really going to see tons of transactions going on daily. Even in like my daily life right now, I would pay with crypto whenever it's possible. But the regulation is stopping me. So I think the only real hindrance that's stopping us from going mass adoption is first regulations. We need regulations to open up and allow us to start using USDT and crypto to settle in daily transactions. And once that's ready, the next thing is, they're gonna start pushing Apple and Google to start allowing alternate payment if it's not virtual product. I mean, for not virtual phone. Yeah, man, that's the only reason they're doing the Solana phone. And so once the regulation approve that, once people start adopting that, I think Apple and Google will have no choice but to start accepting the fact that people are going to use USDT, but still maybe not for virtual product, but you can start using USDT to buy e-commerce, to just do e-commerce and whatsoever. And that's like the mass adoption happening. So I think regulation is really the main thing that's stopping us right now. But I know like we're making some progress since last year. So I'm still quite optimistic overall.
Yeah, I think so too. And having big brands like Visa starting to utilize USDC as a settlement currency means we're on the right path. But look, I know exactly what you mean. If I can spend crypto, I'd absolutely prefer. I had a friend the other day, he's like, oh, do you want to get involved in this project? And I'm like, well, will you take USDC? He's like, no. I'm like, well, no, I'm not interested then. It's just,
I feel that.
Yeah.
Like I've been paying developers in USDC and they often ask me, how can I cash out this thing? Well, that's like, I don't know how to really answer that one. Like,
this is your problem.
It's your problem.
Oh, so funny. Cool. So I guess, we've talked about the start of the podcast and what is really exciting about Near from a technology stack point of view, around the keys, the access keys, the human readable addresses, the scalability and all those kind of things. What do you think in your mind needs to be done within the Near ecosystem so that it sort of goes higher up the chains, pardon the pun, but gets a lot more visibility from other people, so it becomes exciting for people to come and hang out here again?
So I'll take this one. I think it's again applications. I think first we need applications, and secondly we need to make sure user experience is good. So from user experience wise, I believe we are already doing our job like as wallet. And then I believe like the Near core team, they've been doing really great. If you look at the roadmap, it's all about onboarding user easily. So like they now trying to remove the, when users onboard, they need a fee to create their wallet. Now they're removing that, changing that into gas fee. Now that's an improvement. And I think the NEP is already approved or about to be approved soon.
It
So
was
that's
approved, yeah.
one, yes, yeah, it's one improvement. And then we're going to see more and more, I mean, just in 2023 this year itself. So that's from the protocol wise or like the blockchain wise. On application wise, I think we are making progress and we are seeing certain progress, but it's more like we are exploring. We're not so sure like what's the next trend going to be. And the next trend is going to be the thing that, attract a lot of people either into crypto or onto near. So there are a few things that I feel really interesting and I'm passionate to find more about them. So one of it is like the Calimero private network. So before there's a lot of, private shard. So before this, there are some enterprises, they really want to use and apply blockchain technology, but there's no way for them to really utilize the decentralized feature of it while keeping certain privacy. And now, Calimero network really offer a very convenient way to set up your own blockchain and then basically, private shard, and then you can start adopting blockchain technology while having the possibility to actually just bridge your assets to near mainnet in 10 seconds. I think it's 10 seconds, if not mistaken. And then from there, if it's USDT or USDC, you can again bridge that to Ethereum. So I think that's really exciting for me. I'm really curious to see who's going to be like the first few corporates to start embrace that one. And other than that, I think we do see, like Near Foundations and Pagoda, they're trying to go towards onboarding Web2 users. That's particularly interesting to me. I'm still not sure how that's going to work, but I think that's sort of like the positioning. That's the unique position for Near, creating the impossible things. Yeah.
I don't think it is a unique position for Nia because I think it's quite clear to the entire crypto community that Polygon are by far and away exceeding in bringing Web2 businesses and onboarding those users. So I guess that kind of brings me to the point, will there be too many L1s, right? So you've got your first generation L1s, Ethereum, Cardano, Tron, all those kind of things. And you've got your next generation L1s, Nia, Avalanche, Solana. And, you've got a new generation of L1s, Aptos, Sui, Sei. And then you've got some new ones. Was it Monad or something like that? That's placeholder and Paradigm. You're like, it's... At what point do people go, okay, I'm not going to build on this L1 because there's a new, more advanced one coming around the corner that have got all these amazing VCs? Like, it just seems to me that VCs are kind of only interested in investing in L1s rather than actual applications and use cases for the blockchain.
You're right.
Seem crazy?
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. Like, I think a VC has their own sort of like thought and some of the things that they need to achieve. And yeah, I think it's really clear that Polygon is it's really doing better in terms of like onboarding Web2 businesses right now and Web2 brands right now. I'm not so sure how that's gonna look like, but I think the next thing that might probably help us is near social. I really see some bottom up effort right now, like people really using, like I myself am using also near social. I think near is probably the only one that sort of like officially support a social protocol, a social network protocol, something like Lens, but it's now backed by the entire near ecosystem. I think that's really, really special.
Look, I think it is special, but there was a Masari post around social layers around that all of the social layers that are being supported by various blockchains like Lens and whatnot and all that kind of stuff. And there was nothing there at all about near social. This is what I worry about as a near aficionado, or whatever you want to call it. It's like, is near being too slow? Will they fade into obscurity? Will they fade into irrelevance? Because there's just spoiled for choice as far as L1s are concerned. And, it's very interesting. I love speaking to a builder like you who's still genuinely excited about the technology that's available here and excited about the blockchain, because it reaffirms why I came to this ecosystem to start off with. I guess it's just frustrating. Like I said at the start of the Twitter Spaces, it feels like we know this secret and we shout about this secret. We're not trying to keep a secret. We're trying to tell everyone about it, but no one's listening. It's like it's like they can't hear us.
Yeah, I think the application is like you cannot attract the common users with the technical stuff. You need to attract them with like either through profits or like either through real interesting applications, and we still haven't really seen that yet on Near.
Well,
I mean,
hopefully we're both changing that.
One of the comments was, what I found interesting with the latest, I guess, the goals and target metrics for 2023 that was released. I'm not sure how it was done previously, but I felt it was pretty specific, measurable, achievable, like relevant, time bound. It was like, and I know that there's been some shake-ups within Pagoda and Near Foundation. I know that I think Ilya is also coming, to kind of drive in on the Near social, or he's going back to kind of Pagoda side. So I think that, Near started off as kind of this great foundational chain, and I'm hoping has almost come to acknowledge some of the lack of maybe action from the BD side, or from sort of essentially from transforming Web2 projects. So I'm interested to see how this year plays out and how far we get to some of the goals that they've set out. I'm not sure if you guys have seen them or had any comments on if you think they're achievable or not.
I think a lot more will be known after F Denver. I think it's quite bizarre that the Near Foundation, Near ecosystem, the thing that they're most loudest about at the moment is their participation in an F conference. But they've got some plans to make some announcements of cool stuff they're doing, and I am looking forward to hearing a bit more about Near Discovery and what that potentially looks like. But we can continue. I know you guys are doing a fantastic job of utilizing the technology and onboarding users, and we're going to just simply make the best concentrated liquidity AMM platform that we possibly can, and we think will be better than anything out there. It's just a case of getting users to use it, right?
Yeah, and I was going to say, I know that there's been talk of kind of that whole Near OS, and I think we still need to kind of understand a little bit more. But I know that it's almost like this repositioning to Near as this like operating system, this like scalable operating system. And I know that they're going to be changing even the user journey when people land on the homepage to they're going to kind of also put an emphasis on discovery. So just helping users essentially, just discover what's out there and potentially activate quicker and onboard quicker. So I think some of those focuses are subtle, but can be quite impactful if done well.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting for sure. Look, I think we're at time now. Isn't it funny? It's, you go into a meeting for an hour and it's, oh my gosh, this meeting is now, it's so boring. But when you're having a chat with people you get along with and you enjoy what they're doing and what they're talking about, time flies so quickly, doesn't it?
It's always a good chat with you, Mark. Again, I've appreciated you. I mean, the journey that, from the beginning, you've been there, and we've had a great relationship with you. And I see you on LinkedIn as well, kind of posting and doing all the things outside. Appreciate you in the space and appreciate you opening this up for us to have the conversation.
Make game recognize game, man. We're hustlers. We are absolute hustlers. No, it's an honor. Like, I always said it. At the time, various NFT projects were a Trojan horse to get builders into the ecosystem. And I saw that with you, especially Edward, and getting you in there. And I feel extremely vindicated with what you are building with Meteor Wallet, because it's sensational. The UI is fantastic. The UX is great. And looking forward to collaborate with you guys at Veax as well, making sure that, there's a path of least resistance for your users to come and play around with our concentrated liquidity pools.
Yeah, awesome. We're excited for the mainnet launch of it for sure.
Yeah, can't wait
Nice
for
one.
it.
Awesome. Well, you go play around with the testnet. As always, we've got a good Telegram channel. We're always available on social, so come and ask us any questions. And I know you guys are still raising at the moment, so good luck with that. It's certainly tough out there, but the cream will always rise to the top, and I've got no doubt you guys will succeed.
Appreciate it, Mark. Have a good one.
All right, thanks
Mark.
everyone for listening, and we'll be back same bat time, same bat channel next week. Still confirming who our guest is, but no doubt it'll be a good one. So thanks everyone for coming, and we'll see you all soon.
Thanks. Cheers.
Bye.